It's my opinion that popular games can't possibly be reasonably considered bad. Sorry, but millions of people can't be wrong. About, everything anyway. You see a lot of criticism of stuff like Call of Duty, for example, which seems to me disingenuous and based on its popularity. You see, the reason it's so popular is that it's the pinnacle of what it does, and what it does is a mass appeal FPS you can play online with swearing teenage racists. No, see, that's me being a dick. You can play with anyone, because so many people are playing, and every single game in that series has basically had scorn poured on it since Modern Warfare 2. Just a series that gets ripped on for not evolving, for not innovating. Then everything the developers do to try and innovate also gets crapped on. It's because it's popular, even among those who wouldn't necessarily identify as a gamer. The people demanding innovation are the same people who want Resident Evil to go back to its fixed camera and bad controls roots. The same people who decried the Devil May Cry reboot for being accessible and stupid.
Who the fuck are you?
As opposed to the original games, which are mystifying in the systems and equally stupid.
I should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light!
I find it all baffling, really, because while there are obviously games I don't care about, like, any given sports game, like Madden, like any strategy game, really, RTS, turn-based, I can't be arsed with any of them. But I don't denounce them on that basis. I don't think XCOM is shit because I don't like it. I don't play Call of Duty multiplayer, ever, but if your game is the absolute leader of its genre, it's doing something right. Angry Birds, I'm not the biggest fan, but it was offering something that really worked for people. Even Pokemon Go, I couldn't give less of a shit, but people are literally stampeding to get a digital fuckachu. So, good for them, great, the game obviously has merit that I'm incapable of appreciating. There's something there. I just find it weird, man. I got talking about the aforementioned Devil May Cry reboot a short while ago and was instantly met with this sort of baffling response of disbelief that I enjoyed it more than the preceding titles. Like, that's an opinion that can't possibly exist held with sincerity. Like, the complainer is the arbiter of taste and distinction, where no such thing exists in the medium of video games, and stop pretending that they're fucking art, for Christ's sake. I think I went off on a bit of a tangent there. Rampage World Tour was like the perfect game for me as a kid. You go to every single city on the planet, basically, and just smash the fuck out of them. That's like the whole game, smashing things to fuck. And they put in so many fun little details, like there are tourist traps, with a whole bunch of people to eat. You can collect purple toxic barrels that turn into an even more horrifyingly deadly monster. You can play it with 2 other friends, as you can see here. Also, this game is a little bit naughty, with naked people and people on the toilet, and when you're 12, that's like the greatest thing you could ever imagine. I also used to love the fact that I'd randomly mash buttons on the loading screens, and sometimes trigger a secret level or cheat code, because Midway games used to be like that. God, I miss them. Yeah, I got you another massive drink of alcohol, and I thought maybe we could...
I'm fucking the chimp. He's got money, Stu.
Fucking chimp, man.
Why can't I just walk up there? I can do this. But I can't just walk up there. Oh, I can jump up the side, okay. Video games are stupid.
Since this is Video World X, I felt like a relatively significant milestone should merit a relatively significant feature. So here's the history of Croc. No, not really, I'm obviously not doing that. I'm doing my top 10 favourite games of all time in no particular order, so Croc might actually show up. It won't. I actually played the original non-Rebirth version of Isaac quite a bit more than Rebirth, but Rebirth is the widely available version and it is pretty much superior in every way, so I'm going with it. The Binding of Isaac is like the original top-down Zelda in structure, but like a roguelike in practice. You move through between 6 and 10 stages, gradually collecting items that adjust your stats, movement, appearance, and offensive attack radically, meaning, say it with me, it's never the same game twice. It's this variety that keeps me coming back to it. That and the fact it's as fun as hell with a wonderful sort of maladjusted child scatological doodle aesthetic that admittedly some people will bounce hard off of, but I like it and it's my list, so piss off. Regular Video World viewers will both recall that I am quite a big fan of Sonic the Profit-Accruing Hedgehog, and Sonic 3 plugged into Sonic & Knuckles is the best game he ever appeared in. Vast in scope and with graphics that are still gorgeous, it's the Blue Bastard's greatest adventure. 3 playable characters that significantly change your approach to, and traversal of, the stages. Big chunky bosses to beat up, and that first little hint of fan service for long-timers, with Sky Sanctuary's Retro Tour. Also, the best dialogue-free storytelling in gaming history. Probably. The Ultimate Doom is the first-person shooter that basically created first-person shooters. Fuck Catacombs, fuck Wolfenstein. They don't count. I picked this one over Doom 2 because frankly I think Doom 2 wears out its welcome right around the downtown stage, but obviously both games are superb. Ultimate Doom though, 4 flawless episodes. Great movement, great shooting, great secrets, great cast of monsters, great music and sound, great graphics. It's great. And thanks to the still active mod scene, you can play the game forever. And I will. Until my Ultimate Doom. This is largely a nostalgia pick, but the crazy thing about Castle of Illusion for Master System is that there isn't actually anything wrong with it. There are no sections where I find myself thinking, this could be a bit better. And that's including 2 auto-scrolling sections, one of which is underwater, so you know it's quality. Perfect controls, perfect length, perfect difficulty curve, it's absolutely essential. There was a later remake amalgamating this version of the game and the Mega Drive version, and it too was absolutely brilliant. I recommend it almost ludicrously highly. Yoshi's Island is sweeter than Sweeties and never stops being thrilling. Every single level feels crafted and tested to within an inch of its life. Absolutely no homogeneity here. There's over 40 levels and every single one feels distinct. It has an absolutely irresistible art style too, like a child's drawing come to life. Just, not an insane child like in Binding of Isaac. Tons to see and do, and then you've got excellent bonus challenge stages that are so hard they'll make you bite your own knob off. Yoshi's Island. It's the happiest place on earth. Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles 4, Turtles in Time, for Super Nintendo, is basically the apex of the side-scrolling beat-em-up as far as I'm concerned. I mean, sure, I'm not an idiot. Streets of Rage 2, Castle Crashers and Battle Circuit are probably better mechanically, if you insist, but Turtles in Time on SNES is my favourite. It's so colourful and loud and absurd, it's neither too short nor too long, and it's got the turtles in it. Also, you can thwack a foot soldier in the cock and then throw them at the camera, which never gets old. One of the best soundtracks ever too, it sounds exactly like a video game should sound. And it's got pizza monsters in it. Pizza monsters. Sometimes I wonder if I might be a pizza monster. It was either this, Mega Man X, or Mega Man 2, and I ended up opting for 03, because Mega Man X and 2 are shit. Obviously that isn't true, but hopefully it riled you enough to post furious comments and share this video on Reddit and 4chan to mobilise a harassment squad that will bring me more views and thus pounds. The entire Zero series is excellent, but 3 is the pinnacle as far as I'm concerned. The game is, in my opinion, absolutely unmatched as far as 2D combat platforming is concerned, and the amazing boss fights are a testament to this. None of them are easy, but none of them are unfair either. They're all expertly designed and fun as hell to fight. And this game's story and payoff are good too. Better than Mega Man X and Mega Man 2 stories, which are shit. Bring on the patrons. Very much more than the indie flavour of the month, though it was also that. Undertale is the perfect integration of video game and narrative, brimming with lovable characters, absurd situations and hilarious dialogue that neatly sidesteps the lure of gratuitous internet memes. It's charming without feeling contrived, earnest in its presentation and completely timeless thanks to its unobtrusive retro aesthetic. Of course, if you've already played it, you know how good it is. And if you're sceptical, believe me, it's not as irritating as its occasionally shrill and insistent fanbase might have had you believing. Great, great game.
Hey, baby, how's it going? This beat is non-stop. Oh yeah. Hey, baby, listen to my face. I can give you the sense of rhythm.
Game Boy Advance import title Rhythm Tengoku challenges the player to capture their inner metronome and complete a series of esoteric and laugh-out-loud funny rhythm challenges. It's one of the most creative experiences I've ever had in this medium, and I love it, forever. I've had the songs from the game in my head since its release in 2006. It's also one of the only games I've shown to non-gamers and had them gasp in delight at its creative and adorable aesthetics. Absolutely brilliant. Do all that you can to play this one as soon as possible. ZZT is a game, sure. It's all presented in ASCII and you play as a smiley face who explores a world made of text and solves devious puzzles that are easy to screw up and render it unwinnable. But that's not the meat of it for me. For me, ZZT was a creation tool used extensively among me and my friends to create rudimentary but soulful RPGs and adventure games, the vast majority of which are now lost to time and destroyed hard drives and knackered floppy disks. Some of the games survive, and every so often I boot it up and see how quickly the creating bug comes back. It's usually pretty much instant. The abstract graphics lend a great sense of imagination to the proceedings. Games can be belly laugh funny or outright frightening when your mind fills in the visual blanks. It's a wonderful tool and one of the best reasons to download DOSBox right now. I had a really hard time whittling this list down, because, you know what, I've played a absolute shit ton of games over the years. So, you know, I had to do some sort of honourable mentions, so here are the honourable mentions. I hated Jet Set Radio for a long time. Years, actually. I played it back in the Dreamcast games and I didn't get it. What's with these controls, I opined? Which genius made the button you use to spray a tag the same button you center the camera with? Why do you jump as though you're in space? Why? Why is it so crap? Then, of course, because it's a Dreamcast game, it was lauded as brilliant throughout the years, until it released on modern platforms and I'd become convinced that I'd somehow missed the trick. So Muggins here picked it up again, only to find that, hey, it's the same game. You still press L to both tag and center the camera. Stupid! And the gamers are like, yay, JSR is back, it's so good, it's such a good game. And I'm like, this is like Nights into Dreams all over again. It's just a shitty game that everyone fawned over because it was on their piss poor console that they have to somehow justify. That's what I saw it as. I'm not saying Nights is shitty, I just didn't get it. So anyway, I put Jet Set Radio away again, and I saw a thing on the internet that was all, here is why Jet Set Radio is good. So I read it, and I went, well, I would like to learn this game and appreciate it. I'll give it another go. So I did, and I was baffled, and I persevered, and ultimately I was sort of like, oh yeah, I get it now, kinda, a bit. It's not terrible, I sort of understand. So I went on the internet saying, hey, I think I finally get Jet Set Radio, and I was happy with that. And I went to play it again, and it hadn't saved my data, and the Steam version has a known issue where the game just doesn't save, so I guess I'll never ever play it again, and that's my history with Jet Set Radio. You can't say that I didn't try.
Go on, little frog. It's over. You're free. Well, now I got to come up with a new feature.